1:15. This is a Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Romesh Piris and read by Soundithavam. The Defence and Technology Ministry is vested under the President's purview. The number of COVID-19 recoveries on the rise. A mechanism set up to monitor the home quarantine process. The new IGP assumes duties. The Chava Kacheri Court prohibits Mahaviru commemorations. Sri Lanka, India and the Maldives to revive trilateral maritime security dialogue. In international news, US President Donald Trump signals he's prepared to leave the White House if the Electoral College's votes for Biden. In sports, it's cricket. All-rounder Isuru Udana helped the Colombo Kings secure a thrilling super over win against the Kandy Tuskers in the opener of the 2020 Lanka Premier League. The President's Media Division says in accordance with the revision of the subjects under ministries on November 20th, the Ministries of Defence and Technology have been brought under the purview of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The President's Media Division stated that the 21st century is considered as a knowledge-centric century. In order to make this a reality, the Sabhagaya Dakma policy statement envisages building a technology-based society. The statement said all economic sectors, including agriculture, industry and services, will become technology-dependent in the future. A monitoring mechanism has been devised to ensure strict adherence to the ongoing home quarantine process for the context of the infected persons, introduced as a measure to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. The responsibility of monitoring is entrusted with a team of field officers. The team comprises economic development officers, agriculture research and production assistants, Samudhi development officers, family health services officers, Gramaniladaris, public health inspectors and police officers. Home quarantine for the context of the coronavirus-infected persons is a very important step introduced by the government under the advice of health authorities. The newly appointed Inspector General of Police, C.D. Vikramaratne, will assume his duties today. He served as the Acting Inspector General of Police for 19 months before being appointed as the 35th IGP. The acting police media spokesman, Deputy Inspector General of Police Ajit Rohana, said the newly appointed IGP will assume duties today at the police headquarters. The Attorney General's coordinating officer said the Chava Kacheri Magistrates Court today accepted the Attorney General's submissions and issued a prohibition order preventing the Mahaviru commemoration ceremonies. The Mullaitivu and Jaffna Magistrates Courts yesterday upheld the Attorney General's submission on Mahaviru commemorations. The two courts ordered the prohibition of Mahaviru commemoration ceremonies being held in Mullaitivu and Jaffna. Sri Lanka, India and the Maldives will revive their trilateral maritime security cooperation dialogue as the first meeting of the group since 2014 is set to commence today. 3 more countries, Bangladesh, Seychelles and Mauritius, have been invited as observers for the meeting as part of efforts by Sri Lanka, India and the Maldives to expand maritime security cooperation in the Indian Ocean. The meeting will focus on cooperation in maritime security in the Indian Ocean. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Day 5 of the committee stage debate of the 2021 budget gets underway in Parliament today. The expenditure heads of the Ministries of Fisheries, Plantation and Lands will be taken up for debate. Joining the debate yesterday, Minister S.M. Chandrasena said, priority through the President's vistas of prosperity and splendour has been given to agriculture. The minister said the President has issued directives to provide young entrepreneurs land for cultivation. Minister Chandrasena vowed that the government will take all possible measures to uplift the agriculture industry during the next 5 years. The government of Switzerland has extended support to Sri Lanka in addressing the unprecedented impact of COVID-19 by funding the installation of new semi-automated Roche Diagnostics RT-PCR testing machines at the Bandaranaike International Airport and provides 39,000 COVID RT-PCR test kits. This newly installed advanced equipment at the BIA is the first of its kind in Sri Lanka and significantly increases the testing capacity, enabling 1,300 RT-PCR tests per day with a turnaround time of approximately 3 hours. The $1 million project is being implemented by the International Organization for Migration in close collaboration with the Ministry of Health, the World Health Organization, the Airport and Aviation Services Limited and other relevant stakeholders. The Minister of Fisheries, Douglas Devananda, has expressed confidence that a permanent solution can be found to the problem of Sri Lankan and Indian fishermen crossing the border. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa had spoken to the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi virtually on the issue recently. Meanwhile, Minister Devananda stated that preliminary work is underway to develop the fisheries industry with the latest technology in the island. Moreover, measures have also been taken to provide fishing boats equipped with the VMS technology. He added that there are plans to conduct maritime surveys in the Baku Strait with the participation of Sri Lankan and Indian experts. The minister made this announcement in the allocation of funds budget debate for the Ministry of Fisheries, which is taking place in Parliament at present. That's local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The number of coronavirus cases reported in Sri Lanka exceeded 22,000, with the detection of 559 cases yesterday. Among the 559 were 553 individuals linked to the Minuwangoda Paliagoda COVID-19 cluster. The number of infections in the country accordingly rose to 22,028. 6,116 individuals are being treated at 56 hospitals. The number of recoveries, meanwhile, rose to 15,816, with 369 discharged during the past 24 hours. 650 individuals suspected to have contracted the coronavirus are under medical observation. Meanwhile, the Director General of Health Services has confirmed 3 more deaths of COVID-19 infected persons, increasing the total number of coronavirus deaths in the country to 99. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
In Watchlight, the Provincial Director of Education, Tilak Ekanayaka, stated that all schools in the Kansas city will remain closed from tomorrow until next Friday. He said the decision was taken following the instructions of the health authorities. Accordingly, a total of 45 schools in the Kanda district will be closed, and that came to you in Watchlight. On your bulletin of world news in the headlines, U.S. election, U.S. President Donald Trump signals he's prepared to leave the White House if the Electoral College votes for Biden. The Constitution Day celebrated across India. And regular flights between Israel and the UAE. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he will leave the White House if Joe Biden is formally confirmed as the next U.S. president by the Electoral College. The president has refused to accept defeat in the 3rd November vote and told reporters yesterday it will be hard to concede. He also once again repeated unsubstantiated claims of voter fraud. Mr. Biden leads Mr. Trump 306 votes to 232 under the Electoral College system used to pick U.S. presidents. The tally is far more than the 270 needed to win, and Mr. Biden also leads the popular vote by more than 6 million. Electors will meet next month to formalize the vote, with the Democrat Joe Biden due to be sworn in as the president on the 20th of January. The Indian President Ramnath Kovind led the nation in community reading of the preamble to the Constitution of India today on the occasion of the Constitution Day. The President read the preamble from the Rashtrapati Bhavan, which was live telecast and joined by the people across the nation. Constitution Day is being celebrated today across the country to mark the adopting of the Indian Constitution by the Constituent Assembly. The day is also known as National Law Day and commemorates the adoption of the Constitution in India. On the 26th of November in 1949, the Constituent Assembly of the country formally adopted the Constitution of India, which came into force on the 26th of January 1950. The first regular commercial flight between Israel and the United Arab Emirates has gone into operation, signalling the beginning of close economic ties between the two nations. The UAE's low-cost carrier Fly Dubai is the first airline to provide the service. It will operate twice daily flights between the two countries. Its first flight from Tel Aviv arrived at the Dubai International Airport on Thursday evening. Passengers showed Israeli passports to reporters in a joyful mood at the airport. The launch of the flight comes after two countries reached a US brokered deal to normalize ties in September. Back to the headlines of the world news. US election, US President Donald Trump signals he's prepared to leave the White House if the Electoral College votes for Biden. The Constitution Day celebrated across India. And regular flights begin between Israel and the UAE. That concludes this bulletin of world news. On to development news. A $250 million tyre manufacturing plant in Sri Lanka's western town of Horana is scheduled to open in January 2021. The factory, built by Rigid Tyre Corporation, is expected to produce passenger car radials for export and generate 3,000 direct and indirect jobs. The Minister of Industry, Vimal Veeravansa, inspected the factory recently and said that it would help boost the country's export earnings. The first phase of the factory was completed with an investment of $100 million, while the second phase will be completed in March 2022. That's development news, and on to sports. It's cricket, LPL 2020. The all-round skills of Isuru Udana helped Colombo Kings secure a thrilling super over win against the Kandy Tuskers in the opener of the 2020 Lanka Premier League in Hambantota. The much-awaited tournament got underway last evening with a colourful virtual opening ceremony, which included the unveiling of the LPL trophy and a dedicated mobile application for the tournament. The second night match of the LPL 2020 is scheduled to take place tonight at the same venue between the Galle Gladiators and the Jaffna Stallions at 8 p.m. local time. In Sydney, Australia, the men's Indian cricket team took on Australia in the opening one-day international of the three-match series at the SCG. Earlier, Australia won the toss and chose to bat. A short while ago, Australia were 336 for 5 wickets after 44 overs of the 50-over limited match. Meanwhile, the tour match where England play host South Africa in the first of the 3 T20 international matches is scheduled to take place tonight at Newlands in Cape Town. Finally, in sports, the West Indies tour of New Zealand in Queenstown at Stumps on day 2. The West Indies were 571 all out. Thereby, New Zealand A trailed by 526 runs after 15 overs. All that came to you in sports news. Business news up next. And moving on to business news. Tourism is one of the worst hit sectors from the pandemic, and as the industry recovers and restarts, we are presented with an opportunity to rethink how the future of travel and tourism can be shaped for the better. The session on tourism, Rethinking the Game Plan in Shaping the Tourism of Tomorrow, aims to answer some of the burning questions within the industry at the upcoming Sri Lanka Economic Virtual Summit 2020. The flagship summit will be held in virtual format in compliance with the health guidelines and will bring together key policymakers, business leaders, as well as the input of top international thought leaders who will come together to identify the steps in developing the pathway towards the accelerated and people-centric revival of the country's economy. That's business news, economic news up next.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Congratulations on your promotion. When will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
All operations and other services of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority terminals and all other sister terminals of the Port of Colombo are swiftly returning to normal. Due to the current COVID-19 pandemic in the country, terminals in the port faced an impact to its operations over the last week. Subsequently, collective action with decisive measures were implemented to restore operations and to ensure the well-being of all employees and the port users. Accordingly, operations at the Jaya Container Terminal, East Container Terminal, Unity Container Terminal, South Asia Gateway Terminal, and the Colombo International Container Terminal are currently operating normally at the quayside, with yard operations and inter-terminal transfers being resorted in a planned fashion. That's economic news.
Hello, Puta. Did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down, everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge. LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
On to the weather report. The Meteorological Department says showers and thundershowers will occur at several places in the Uva and eastern provinces in the afternoon. Meanwhile, light showers will occur in the western and Sabragama provinces and in the Gaul and Matara districts. The general public has been urged to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The Defence and Technology Ministry is vested under the President's purview. The number of COVID-19 recoveries on the rise. A mechanism set up to monitor the home quarantine process. The new IGP assumes duties. The Chavakacheri Court prohibits Mahaviru commemorations. Sri Lanka, India and the Maldives to revive trilateral maritime security dialogue. US President Donald Trump signals he's prepared to leave the White House if the Electoral College votes for Biden. And all-rounder Isuru Udana helped the Colombo Kings secure a thrilling super over win against the Candy Tuskers in the opener of the 2020 Lanka Premier League.